Well, we're here at the National Manufacturing Debate, a day of think tank for the UK to consider manufacturing in a truly global context. And we're very lucky to have with us one of our panellists at the National Manufacturing Debate, Virander Paul, Deputy High Commissioner at the High Commission of India. So welcome, Virander.
Thank you.
It's really great to have you, and I know that it's a great contribution at the panel discussion at the debate.
Thank you for inviting me.
Many of our viewers may not know much about the economy of India, and particularly how manufacturing plays its part within the general economy of India. Perhaps you'd like to share a few thoughts
As you know,
on that.
India happens to be one of the fastest growing economies of the world, and manufacturing has traditionally played an important role in the Indian economy. But more recently, especially over the last 1 year or so, manufacturing has got much closer and greater attention, and traditionally the growth of the manufacturing sector has been below 5%, but now under the new national manufacturing policy, the goal is to raise the growth rate in the manufacturing sector up to 12 to 14% per annum. We also aim to achieve, greater role being played by the manufacturing sector through a new initiative announced by the new government in India through this campaign, Make in India. And the national manufacturing policy and this Make in India initiative it aims to increase the share of manufacturing in the country's GDP from 16 to 25% by the year 2022, and to create 100 million additional jobs by 2022 in the manufacturing sector. And this is going to be associated with the creation of appropriate skills for the people. As you might know, in India, 800 million people out of 1.25 population of India are below the age of 35. So job creation, employment intensive manufacturing is something which we aim for.
And of course, I mean, that is a fantastic demographic bubble to develop technology skills for the manufacturing sector. And of course, you have a very fine, internationally renowned educational system for higher engineering skills in your institutes of technology. And tell us a little bit about, you have a great capacity to grow the skills, but what sort of initiatives are related to skills are underpinning the kind of plans for growth?
Make in India, to make in India successful, it goes without saying that skill development is another focus area, important focus area, and this is interlinked with technology development. And just like in the UK, you have catapult centers. In India, the government seeks to diversify the network of higher educational institutions, particularly focusing on technology that can be employed in industry. So we are working in that direction.
And this is a wonderful thing about having you representing the view of India and many other nations here at the National Manufacturing Debate. How similar the initiatives are to deal with the challenges of growing manufacturing in the economy. But particular focus of the National Manufacturing Debate this year is the question of reshoring. It's a very big, important issue for the UK, returning businesses that had offshored in the past. But of course, delegates have also said, do not forget that offshoring is still an important part of the manufacturing mix. What's your view on that balance? What does it look like from an Indian perspective between offshore and maybe reshoring and onshore?
In India's context, I think what we seek to achieve is, under the Make in India campaign, is to encourage Indian companies, both in public and private sector, and also foreign investors to come to India and make in India. As regards offshoring, in the Indian context, there are Indian companies with their bases outside the country, and there are a series of companies which are trying to internationalize their operations, including in manufacturing, in other countries, including in India. So as such, we do not have any indication that Indian companies are trying to go out for manufacturing, because there is tremendous potential within the country. If you see the booming market of India, the growing middle class, I think the Indian manufacturing sector, Indian companies, they are focusing their resources and energies in India for the Indian market.
And of course, you've also highlighted that a desire to get some foreign direct investment into India. So I'm sure our viewers would love to hear a little bit about some of the initiatives that your own government have in place or is planning to try and drive that forward direct investment.
Associated with Make in India is another campaign which is directly linked to it. It's Invest India, where the central government, the state governments, the apex chambers of industry and commerce in India, they have joined hands and to make investment in India, not only to promote and encourage, but also to enhance the ease of investing in India. It includes development of online portals, then simplification of procedures, the new policy, for instance, in defense sector, the FDI ceiling has been raised from 26 to 49%. In FDI single brand retail, for instance, it is 100%. And in several other sectors, the ease of investing in India and the confidence that foreign investors should have in the Indian market, that also has been steadily increasing, and there are policies being made and announced in that direction.
And of course, those policies are aimed at everywhere around the world, but we are at the UK National Manufacturing Debate, and of course you're based with your government role here in the UK. How does the relationship feel to you in the area of manufacturing between our two nations?
When I first saw the invitation, to come and participate in the debate, I was really fascinated by the title, Reshoring UK, which in other words is, like we have Make in India, is like Make in UK, and whether, these two initiatives, whether they are in competition with each other or these initiatives open up areas of collaboration. So I think the interests and aspirations of India and the UK through these programs and initiatives, I think the interests and aspirations are compatible and complementary. For instance, in your country, the focus is on high technology driven manufacturing, and in India we are starting technology, but there are certain other considerations, as I mentioned earlier. Employment generation for the youth, skill development, these are equally important, and the fruits of reshoring UK high technology manufacturing in this country, I think they can feed into the assembly line in India manufacturing, where the cost of production are lower, huge market, and steadily developing technology base in India.
Well, that's great to hear. Made in India, made in the UK. I've seen both logos around the national manufacturing debate today, and complementary but friendly competitors as well, where it's appropriate to be between our two economies. Universal fact of life, and a little bit and that love and friendship across the history of our two nations as well.
But with the UK, I would like to add that trade and economic engagement between the two countries is a very important pillar of the relationship, and I'm quite optimistic that in the times to come, Make in India and Reshoring UK, I think these two initiatives will play an important role in attracting investments into India.
And that's a wonderful point to finish our interview. Virander Paul, thank you very much, and thank you very much for your contribution to the national manufacturing debate here at Cranfield University.
Thank you. Thank you.